This is Izzy Nalley, and I'll be leading you through a 30-minute morning yoga practice. Beginning at the top of your mat, just start rocking into your feet. We're trying to find the center point, the balance point. You might rock front to back and side to side. Beginning to find stillness and find the breath, and then we'll inhale the arms up while we exhale the arms down. Let's do this a few times. Taking in a big inhale and then releasing with an exhale. And as we arrive at the top this time, let's take it into a little back bend, lifting up through the chest, opening the heart. And as we exhale, we'll start to open the arms and begin that dive forward. Let go of the head and neck, and you can find as much softness in the knees as you need. We'll begin to lift into that slight flat back and then release it down as we pump through the spine, lifting up through the heart as we inhale, and then exhaling to release the head and neck, practicing that letting go. As we come back down, we'll place the hands down on the floor and we'll lift up through the right leg, lifting up and then placing the toes down as we come into a crescent lunge. Roll up through the spine, tightening the core. And then lift the hands over the head. And taking a breath, inhaling, we can lift the chest, take a slight back bend. And then the hands will come back down on that exhale. We'll step the other foot back to meet and begin to lower down with the elbows pulled in. Once you arrive, release the toes and lift up through the chest for the cobra. And then exhale it back down. We'll take an assisted push-up. Inhale through the knees and back into a child's pose. Take a moment to rest in child's pose, forehead heavy. Deep breaths. As we lift out of child's pose, we'll inhale up through the heart, rocking forward and then rounding through those toes to lift the bottom for down dog. Wiggle, move, however your body's needing to help release. It's our first one, so be gentle with yourself. Make sure not to lock the elbows. Let the head release. Bringing the feet together, we'll then lift the right leg directly up. Pull the knee through and plant that foot. We'll position the back foot for warrior one so the toes are just slightly out. And again, we'll round up through that spine, lifting the hands all the way to the ceiling. And allow yourself to take a breath. Maybe you look up with the eyes. And then we're bringing the hands behind the back. You can place the top of the hands on the back to help support. As we lift up and we're stretching the neck with that baby back bend, releasing down, hands come to the floor, and then stepping the back foot forward, fold, release. As you let go of the shoulders and the neck, maybe you'd like to cross the hands onto the elbows to help gravity pull down through that spine. As we release and begin to lift into that halfway lift, we'll rise into a flat back, tightening the core and lengthening the neck, and then releasing down. We'll trace up the body, roll through the spine, fingertips reaching towards the sky, and a slight back bend, opening, releasing back down. Let the hands come down, rise into that flat back, release down to the floor. And then we'll lift the left leg, stepping back into that crescent lunge. Rolling up, hands reach towards the ceiling. Take that back bend if you'd like it. It can be as big or little as you'd like. The hands come all the way back down, and then we step back into that plank. Lowering down, chaturanga. Releasing the feet, lifting into that cobra. Open the heart, release it back down with an exhale. Each movement has a breath. Shifting back into that child's pose. Take a moment, take a breath. As we lift out of the child's pose, we curl up like that Halloween cat, tucking the toes, lifting the hips. We allow the hips to lift up and the chest to reach towards the top of the feet. Bring the feet together, and again, we'll lift that right foot. Inhaling. Exhale to pull through. Plant that foot. Placing that back foot again for warrior one. Toes slightly out. Roll yourself up. Lifting the hands towards the ceiling. And we could bring the hands together if you'd like, or keep them apart. We'll take a back bend. It might be a little bit bigger than last time. And then bring the hands back down through prayer. Guide the hands onto the back. You could have the base of the hand or the top of the hand to support. Opening the heart, the neck, the throat, the breath. Releasing yourself back down. Hands come down. Step the back foot forward and fold. Pedal the knees, swaying the hips side to side, shaking out the elbows, half back, sway it back down, roll yourself back up, hands reach up, and then we'll dive it forward again, hands come down, flat back, release it back down. Lifting through that right foot, coming into that crescent lunge. Roll up, hands lift. Feel the inhale guiding you upward. Taking that pause here to really feel the distance between the feet. Bring the hands together, and we're going to begin to twist as we exhale. So that elbow comes across the body. Right elbow to left knee. Open up the heart, push into that base elbow. And come back to center. You might lift the hands back up before coming down. Hands come down, feet step back, lower down, chaturanga. Lift the chest on that inhale for cobra. Exhaling, releasing it back down. Inhale, we guide up through those bent knees, back into a child's pose. Lifting up through the heart. It's a big inhale, guiding forward. Tuck the toes, lift the hips. Heaviness in the hands. Feet come together. This time we have the left foot. Guiding through. Rolling up through that warrior one. Hands reach up. This is that lighter back bend. This is our first time on this left side. So you might just have the top of the hands rested on the back. Breathe into it. Let yourself gently release down. Step it forward, forward fold. Inhaling to rise into that flat back, lifting through the heart, extending, exhale, releasing, folding, inhale, guide the hands up, maybe like that back bend, and then open back and dive in. Flat back, lower down. Hands down, left foot lifts, stepping back, crescent lunge, roll yourself up. Reach the hands, they might come together. And we're guiding ourselves into that twist again. So take a moment to guide your base. Opposite elbow. Push into that bottom knee with that bottom elbow and open, create space. Breathe into it. Uncoiling, we let the heart come back down, facing the floor. Hands come down, step back into your plank. Lowering down with that exhale, inhaling to lift. Exhale to lower. Inhale to push up. Exhale back to child's pose. Rounding through that heart, through that spine, lifting up, shifting forward, lifting up, downward facing dog. Bring the feet together. Left side again, second time on this side. Lift the heel, pull the knee through, plant the foot. That right foot's placed for warrior one. We guide our way up. This is the second time on this side, so we might be able to take that back bend a little bit more. We could bring the hands behind the back, lifting and opening that chest a little more. And always just let yourself know that one side might feel different than the other. So we want to cater it, meet it where it's at. Hands come back down. Step that back foot forward. We're dropping into Malasana, so take your toes and your feet a little wide. Let that bottom drop just as much as you can keep your feet flat on the floor. Wherever you land, we'll place the elbows onto the inside of the knees. And again, we push into the knees to help create space in the heart. Breathe into it. Practice letting go. And then we lift the hips. Let yourself fold. Rising into that halfway lift, that flat back, tightening up, and then releasing back down. Guiding your way all the way back up. This time we'll cross the hands. So we'll have the right hand wrap around, palms go together. Breathe here as we take this stretch, and then we'll take that left leg behind the right leg. Crossing over, stretching in. Just an added option. And then cross the hands in the other direction as we then take that right leg behind the left. Taking over, side stretch. And we'll slowly begin to come back to center with control. Centering ourselves before stepping back. We'll step the right foot back into a warrior two stance. The front left foot is aiming forward while the back foot is opened up. Stretching the arms out. And then we'll begin to take the palms up on our inhale, exhaling palms down. And this will start with just the shoulder rotations, inhaling and exhaling. You can start to add the neck when you're ready. And then it might start to turn into this cat-cow-like movement, really opening and closing, keeping that palm rotating up and down. And then the next time we rotate open, let's begin to take this into a forward angle. So that front elbow comes to the knee, the top hand reaches up. And we're really opening the hips with the front knee bent and the back leg straight. We'll guide the top hand down, reaching towards that back foot. We'll open up that front arm and we begin to pull the arms in opposite directions, floor and ceiling, rotating open. Allow the heart to aim towards the ceiling as we pull ourselves forward. Hands come down to the floor. We can rotate that back foot and step back into plank, lowering down. Exhale, inhale, lifting the chest for cobra. Exhale, shift back into downward facing dog. We'll lift that right foot, dragging it through, placing that knee down. And then we're going to stack the shoulders, allow that foot to open. And so you can take as wide of a stance on this as you need for balance. This is a balance pose. So this is like a modified half moon. And then we'll bring it back down, curling inward. We'll take the knees wide. Pushing back to that child's pose. Take a moment. And as we rise up, we're going to situate for a half frog. So one knee, one hip is open while the other leg is straight. And we're resting into that. It's very gentle, soft, and subtle. And so this is a recovery pose, but also an opening pose. So just allow yourself to feel the breath. Know that you're still doing yoga, even with this rest. And as you push back up, we'll find the hands next to the chest, taking that push up, pull the knee back in. And now that knee is situated to perform that modified half moon on the other side. Opening up, keeping the hand over the shoulder, extending and lowering back down. And now we'll perform that half frog on the other side. So just the one knee, just the one hip open, resting down, breathing. So the muscles are still stretching here. It's just more of a passive stretch with a gentle breath. And we'll begin to find the hands on the floor. Pushing up, use the strength. Step back with that foot so that we land in that downward facing dog. Walk the feet forward. Fold. Release. You could grab opposite elbow. You could sway. You could wiggle. Find the breath. Crossing to the opposite side. And here you have the option, if you'd like, for more squeeze behind the shoulders, the hands can come together. And then we can lift up into that chair pose, opening the heart, arching, and then folding back over with the hands. And whenever you're finished, just release the hands, roll yourself back up. Hands reaching towards the sky. And we've got that crossover again, crossing one foot behind, pressing the hands into each other. We create a contraction, an active stretch. Breathing into it, cross the other way, and then loop that other foot behind if that was the path you'd like to take today. Back together, releasing down. And we're stepping into the warrior two on the other side. So we can have heel to arch, palms up, palms down, inhaling and exhaling. Again, we'll make this breath and this movement cater to your body. We have that edge of discomfort, but we don't push too much further past that. Focus on the opening and the closing. Pulling through that elbow, we reach for that extended side angle. So again, that front knee is bent, the back leg is straight. And we lengthen through this long line from the back foot all the way out through the fingers. Feeling that side stretch and then pulling through that long line to take it into that reverse warrior. Opening up through the front side of the body, the heart faces the ceiling. Pulling down through that elbow, hands come all the way down to the floor. We'll step back into that downward facing dog. Here we'll be moving into pigeon, lifting up through one heel. We can center the feet first if you'd like, and then pulling through. Use the core, and the shin comes forward as much as you'd like. And you can place a prop, so maybe it's a pillow or a blanket underneath the hip if it doesn't reach the floor too closely. And you might stay on your hands, the elbows, or if your body allows, you could come all the way down to the floor. Find the breath in the muscles. If you find that you cannot breathe a steady breath, that is your body telling you that you've pushed too far. And begin to feel the floor. Begin to find your strength to press the hands into the floor, lifting the head. We'll slowly start to guide ourselves up. Tuck the back toe under, lift the hips, and step back into that downward facing dog. We'll then lift the other foot, the opposite as last time, bringing that shin forward and resting into this modified pigeon. And again, forearms, even the hands, a prop. Maybe you release the neck, find your breath, wiggles are welcome. Rest into the floor if your body allows after a couple breaths. And once more, we'll find our hands in the floor, guiding up. Tucking the back toe, lifting the hip, stepping back into that downward facing dog. Finding the breath. You might even drop into the forearms. This is just an added option, coming into almost that dolphin, and then resting into the knees. We can then stretch the arms forward. The hips will stay over the knees. This is heart bonding or anahata. Big shoulder stretch, deep breaths. And of course, you're welcome to pump a little bit here through that chest and heart. Feel the forearms, and we'll slide forward into the elbows. Let the hips drop and come into Sphinx, dragging the elbows back, pushing the heart forward. And we'll lower back down to the floor, placing the hands again next to the chest to push up and through. And we're just going to come onto the back here. So resituate if needed. Find yourself comfy. We'll leave the feet on the floor just for added support to start. And we'll do a little bit of releasing the tailbone with pointing one foot up. Doesn't matter which side. We'll get to the other side. And we'll draw little circles. And you'll feel right around the sacral area in that glute. A little massage of the floor as well as the core being activated. And reverse in the other direction. Just opening up that hip. Because we'll then take that foot, cross it over onto the opposite thigh, and sway. So this is rocking out. So rocking is very soothing for the nervous system. Allow yourself to breathe. And then we'll place that foot on the floor and we will push up into a little bridge. So tuck the tailbone, lift the hips, hold for a moment. See if you feel the different energy on each side, so that right and left side. And as we lower down, we'll then prepare for the other foot to reach up towards the ceiling and circling in one direction. Feel all the sensations, all the muscles working, being supported. Reverse in the other direction. And then we'll begin to cross over onto that opposite thigh, opening up the hip, and then we rock side to side. Just releasing. So trying not to tense too much, just to relax. And as we finish up here, releasing that foot back down, we'll come back to that bridge again, pushing into it maybe a little bit more than last time. So we tuck the tailbone, lift the hips, squeeze the glutes. You might feel pressure in your neck, so just be careful of how much pressure you'd like. And you could even walk the feet in closer to your bottom one at a time to activate the muscles, the squeezing and the lifting a little bit more. Lowering back down to the floor, we'll then move into our twist, taking your right knee in, left leg long, and we'll bring that bent knee across the body, opening up the chest, extending that right arm out. And you can even turn the head and look towards that right hand so that you're twisting the head towards the right as that right knee twists across the left side. Breathing into your twist, releasing, not tensing, letting go, and then coming back to center. We'll release that foot, switch other knee in, so the right leg goes long, left leg comes across the body over into the right direction, and the left arm opens, and we might look over towards that left side. Twisting through the spine, breathing into your nervous system. And with both feet on the floor, we'll do similar with just one knee opening. It'll be similar to that frog that we did earlier, that half frog. Just relaxing, just releasing, seeing what happens and breathing into it. And we'll do the same on the other side as we draw up through that leg and opening through the other hip. Again, just relaxing, just releasing. Sometimes we might feel nothing, and other times we might be surprised by what we feel. Just breathe into it, observe without judging. And we'll come back to center. You have the option of staying with your feet on the floor, or you can release out with the toes opening up. And we rest into a short savasana. Just allowing yourself to, again, practice that letting go, that surrender. You can start at the top of the head and just allow this warm wash of surrender to flow through the body, down the neck, the shoulders, out through the arms and through the fingers, spreading across the chest and through the ribs, down the belly, relaxing the digestive system, releasing the hips, the thighs, knees, ankles, and feet. Releasing, we draw in with that inhale, and we release with that exhale. Allow the breath to wash through the body. And I invite you to take a deep breath in through the nose and exhale, opening the mouth with a sigh of relief. As we then begin to wiggle the fingers and toes, adding movement back into the body. We'll reach the hands overhead and bring the feet together, taking a big stretch and tense, and then releasing. We'll draw one foot in at a time and then one knee in at a time, curling into a little ball and then rolling over to one side. And we try to carry that softness, that intention with us, of that slow movement, intentional movement. With a heavy head and a heavy heart, allow yourself to guide up, readjust, and come back to breath. Feeling your inhale, feeling your exhale. Allow yourself to find alignment of the spine, stacking one vertebrae like as if you were stacking pebbles. Bringing our yoga into our hands, we'll bring the index finger to the thumb, stretching wide through the other fingers. And then we'll begin to breathe with each finger, switching to the second finger. And the third finger. And to the small finger. Reversing backwards to the ring, to the middle, and then to the index. Spreading wide through all of the fingers, and then inhaling, reaching up, bringing the hands to prayer, prayer down to heart, touching the thumbs at the third eye to honor your higher, wiser self, and bowing namaste. Thank you so much for joining me in this morning practice. Please subscribe so you can keep getting more awesome yoga videos, and give this one a like if you enjoyed it.